Good evening, everyone. We'd like to get this meeting underway. Councillor Artis will start proceedings.
Good evening, everybody. The first item is the election of a chairman for the civic year 25-26. So members are to vote on a chairman. I will propose Mark Strutt as the chairman, unless anybody else wishes to stand for this poison chalice. So can I have a seconder for Mark Strutt? Okay. Anybody else wishing to stand?
No.
Okay. It's seconded. So Mark Strutt is appointed as chairman by acclamation.
Thank you, I think. Next on the agenda is to appoint the appointment of the vice chairman for the civic year 2025-26. Members are to appoint a vice chairman for the year. I'd like to propose Councillor Artis as our vice chair. Anyone else propose someone? Anyone stand for a seconder? Councillor Artis is appointed vice chair by acclamation. Okay. Right, we need to deal with some interim arrangements. In the absence of a locum clerk, we need to appoint someone to take the minutes. Councillor Hunt has volunteered to do that. Are we going to have a seconder? Is everyone happy with that?
Yes.
Show your hands. Okay.
Yep. Happy with that.
Excuse me. We also need to update the council's contact details. Specifically, the address of the council is currently previous clerk's home address. I'm going to suggest, unless anyone's got any great ideas, that it comes to me for the time being.
It's not a great idea, but I think somewhere along the line, the previous clerk's address is on.
Somewhere on the website, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and hunt that down.
Jackie's, yeah, I've noticed that.
I think the one before that as well.
Yeah.
So I'll try and hunt
We
all
need
of
to
those.
sort it out.
If you see them, can you tell me where?
Okay.
So I can
Yeah.
modify the
I
date.
think it's on the website actually, Jackie's.
Yes, where on the website? Can you tell
It
me what?
says Carl, or on our address.
Okay, well, let's see what we can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll propose that. I'm happy with that.
So to use Sun Cottage as the address at the time being?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, which?
Sun Cottage,
Which is?
where I live.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah. No.
Okay, so I propose that Keith seconded it. All those in favour? Someone's got. Okay. We need to appoint a responsible officer in the absence of a locum or a permanent clerk. And we also need to appoint a clerk. So I'd like to propose that we propose a responsible officer, but also to propose an amendment that we appoint a clerk, because we actually have to have a clerk as a role. The suggestion is that we split the roles. Councillor Artis has volunteered to be the responsible officer. If no one else is willing, I will be the clerk.
Of course they are.
Until we find a locum, which we are desperately trying to do, but we'll come to that later.
Excellent.
Can I have any suggestions? Anyone? Comments? Can I have a proposer and a seconder to that? I'll propose it. Okay, can I have a second that? Can I have a show of hands in favour, please? Any against? No, there's none left. Thank you. Carried. Right. Right. Okay. Okay. Welcome to our annual parish council meeting. Thank you, public and my fellow councillors, for attending. We have a lot to try and get through tonight. The annual parish meeting, which is a different meeting, has not had a date set yet, but I anticipate I will call it for some time in the week after the Flower Festival, but obviously before the end of the month. This month, and hopefully ongoing, we are going to finish this welcome from the chair with responses to public participation from previous meetings. This was suggested during the public participation at the last meeting. So the responses I have are: Councillor Arthur's made representation at the planning committee reiterating the council's position about the development of the land west of the station at Takeley. This development is on tonight's agenda. I was asked why I thought Bruce's update at the March meeting was potentially slanderous, and that was because something said in the update at the time appeared as if it was. But as we have not received the promised text of the update, and I'm unable to confirm further on whether I had heard rightly and understood it. Obviously, if I get it wrong, I apologise, and equally, if I was right, I would readily accept an apology from them. I was also asked as chair why I did not excuse myself on the motion at the March meeting about the poll, and that was because, in my opinion, it was primarily about the principle of the council's authority. I was also asked as chair if I would be leaving the room for the 2 village green items, and as most of you will already know, I did leave, and I will be for the first 2 village green items this evening. Public participation. After the public participation, the meeting is a council meeting between councillors, observed by the public and any press. So we start now with up to 15 minutes of public participation. Please be respectful to other speakers by speaking only once and for a maximum of 5 minutes, and only once I've let you know it's your turn. Thank you. Chris, you're very quick.
So you mentioned there that you are going to excuse yourself on the 2 first points about green, and you did say previously. Firstly, can you let us know on what grounds are you deciding that it is right that you excuse yourself?
I think it's become accepted practice on those items.
Because of?
Because some people view my conflicts of interest.
It's your decision though, so I'm just asking
but
why
I'm happy to make people happy on it. So
not because you believe it's a conflict of interest, just because
I believe I have a non-pecuniary interest.
Okay, and that's a good reason not to be there.
No, I choose.
No. Do you think Mr. Murphy should also not be
No,
there as
I
having a
don't.
non-pecuniary interest in Village Green as well, being a football coach?
No, I don't.
No? Okay.
I note your response with regards to the slander comment, because I was going to ask about that. So I'd be grateful if maybe you could contact me individually and explain what it was.
I don't have a copy of it. I can't. That's why I just explained.
It was given out to all the councillors, isn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I'd appreciate some clarification on that. But I'd just like to point out, as the chair of Boost, I did send an email to the council on the 30th of April with a number of clarifications that we needed in order to submit our proposal. Within those questions, one of them was, can you please explain how you will evaluate our proposal when the football club has refused to meet with us? Is that something that you're willing to intervene with? That question didn't actually get answered, but a completely different and unrelated reply was given, which my colleague Tony McLean is going to respond to. And then I asked both the cricket and football clubs have confirmed in writing their affiliation to the HBO SEC. How are you going to ensure that our proposal is evaluated fairly when this is one of the major assessment criteria you have stated, plus at least 3 members of the parish council are affiliated with those clubs? And the response I got was, in the absence of Boost having built a relationship with the various sports and activity clubs, I assume this is always a difficulty you would have had and would have factored when making your initial expression of interest in making an offer. I really think this is your responsibility to gain the confidence and acceptance of the clubs if it is they who you wish to serve in making your offer. If your offer relies on a relationship or contribution from clubs in the village or elsewhere, you should make that clear in your offer. And I'd just like to say that in relation to the minutes of October 2024, where Councillor Artis clarified that the council have asked the trustees and clubs for full financial background and details, and these will be made public, then those two comments don't really sit together. And so by not fulfilling this obligation to the parish from October 24 and failing to make this information public or insist that the same information is shared with Boost, then can it please be acknowledged that we have had to make assumptions in our proposal that we would not have had to have made otherwise.
Thank you, Jennifer.
So just to follow on from that, in relation to comments that were allegedly made by me in the meeting of the Boost trustees with the subcommittee, I was asked in that meeting what would happen if the sports clubs didn't cooperate with what, not I was asked, but the Boost team were asked and I answered. What would happen if the sports clubs didn't cooperate with the with Boost if we were successful? And my response to that was that in the event that the sports clubs wouldn't cooperate with us as the organisation that might be responsible for that, then they would be excluded from the grounds. That's been twisted as a negative in terms of Boost wanting to exit the sports clubs and bring in other people, although our very clear stated aim is that we believe the village green should be a village facility. So saying that other people would be brought in from outside of the village would fly contrary to that. The point that I was making at the time, and a point that would apply to anybody, is that anybody that becomes responsible for the village green will have to make sure that any clubs that are using the sports facilities have done health and safety assessments, that if they have children that are involved, as many of the sports clubs are, that their safeguarding policies are in place and they're up to standard, and that they have any necessary insurance. So it would be remiss of any organisation to have anybody using the facilities that they're responsible for if they were refusing to cooperate in providing that sort of information. So far from it being a negative comment, it's actually just stating what would be good practice. So I'd quite like to understand why Councillor Artis and the parish believe that in asking that those clubs be stopped from using the facilities so they won't cooperate with us, why that they think that that would be a bad thing. And rather the question should have been the parish council insisting that those sports clubs engage with whoever they are assigned to make sure that they are compliant and that children and users of the sports pitches are not put at risk. So the negative comments that have been floating around since then are unwarranted.
Yeah, I can answer that very quickly. First of all, we, as I've said many times, we can't demand, we can ask, but we can't demand that the clubs provide information or respond to third parties. The matter about excluding, I think you said, of the clubs, it was a very simple question, which was what happens if the clubs won't work with you, work with Boost, and you said, well, there are plenty of other teams available. That's as simple as that. There's no greater depth of questioning other than that. So,
Except
and I
that
said,
you've made
and both you and Anthony Wilson said exactly the same thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a good thing. It's just a statement of fact.
but you've been making
Thank you.
reference to
Thank
that in a negative way.
Thank you.
Can the council not insist that the clubs give that information? I mean, the council has some powers there. Insist that that information is given to Boost.
You have absolute power. If they don't give it up, kick them off until they do. And you can do that.
Can I ask a supplementary on that? So I would like to be clear, how can the council award a proposal, award a contract, knowing that they potentially put the contract holder in some sort of legal danger by awarding it before agreeing with the sports clubs what's the ongoing contractual arrangement? Has the council not asked about how they
Not at the moment.
appoint a winner, as it were, before agreeing with the sports clubs exactly what the process should be for handling?
No, we don't have an answer for this one.
Thank you.
With the Durkan proposal that's come through, how come it has moved from 25, between 25 and 50 houses behind Barnfield to 95? Also, how come we're going to be having dealings with a developer who does sneaky things like not sending out the leaflets to the people most likely to be affected until right at the last minute?
I don't know, that's a decision by Durham.
I mean, just going back on this point about the this information coming out, as I said, you definitely have the power to do that, and you're not doing it. You're showing bias. And believe me, down the road, if this doesn't go in a fair competition, down the road, it can be stopped, I promise you. And you need to take that on board, okay? You've got to make this a very level playing field. Okay, hang on, I've got another point if you don't mind. I know on planning, okay, it says here, to know how and throw planning proposals, councils will meet with Durkan before their proposed consultation, which is tomorrow. And we'll discuss a plan of action at a meeting to be decided. Now, prior to today, have any of you councillors met or corresponded with Durkan this year? I want an answer. Well, you don't have an answer.
No, not that I know. It's my answer.
Well, can all the other councillors please say something? Particularly your vice chairman?
So, Councillor Artist?
Who is vice chairman?
We're checking it back.
Well, in a timely manner, can I have that, please?
Do we take it as a list?
Sorry, I didn't hear an answer to that. You said nobody.
We'll get back.
Oh, you'll get back.
Yeah.
Okay.
We said we'll answer questions next week.
Just quickly, I've emailed a number of councillors, very sent an email out last night, Sue Brown is coming back, things that they are thinking of that. But Councillor Murphy, Beadle, Hunt and Craig, I'm waiting for a response. I would expect a response. Should I get something back regarding the plan behind Barnfield? So I thought you also get the email quite quickly. I'm just wondering.
I've only just seen it. I do apologise. I will get in contact with you
That's
tomorrow.
great. As long as I can get a response,
Yeah, no
it's
problem
just
at all.
not ignored.
No, it won't be ignored.
Obviously, I live in Barnfield.
Yeah.
And I think it's massively impacting where we live.
Yeah.
And I would like to know what the council, how they're going to, work with us with this. And but would like to get a response.
Yeah,
So
no
I was
problem.
really impressed with council that actually came up to me something to say.
I haven't received mine yet, so.
You haven't received, I can resend it to you, that's fine.
Thank you.
And I also know a few other people who have emailed to the council and asking for information and having about the Durkan development and haven't been responded to. So who do we all of you individually?
No, still email to the clerk and it will get shared out.
And how quickly as a response do you expect to get?
Got to remember we're volunteers, so give us a reasonable time.
On the village green, one of the, I think you call it a motion, says that should booths be chosen as the assignee, there may be additional charges for which booth will be responsible. Why is that?
We've been advised that by the solicitors.
Sorry?
We've been advised that by the solicitors.
But was the charity also?
No, because the charity was mentioned in the original lease, so apparently that makes it easier for them. That's all I know.
Just very, very quickly, it means that because the charity has expressly given consent within the lease, if Boost are given the project, then a deed of consent has to be agreed with Boost. So that's a different document and it's additional cost, which we've said that Boost would have to take on board.
I believe they accepted at the time, but I can't remember. Okay, morning.
Just to change the subject a bit, a couple of meetings ago, I think Councillor Beale was talking about equipment, obtaining new equipment or updated equipment for the place. And I remember, I think you said that the company you were dealing with is in Bristol, which means that they can't bring you a life-size replica of what you want to see. I just wondered if anybody has thought or contacted any local authorities or playgrounds or recreational organisations to find out if any of those are problems, so we can make arrangements to go and see them in situ or ask them what they think of it.
Now, what I've been doing, I've been going around different parks in the areas, seeing what they've got, finding out where they got their equipment from, finding out who give the best grants and who do the best equipment. Because there are a lot of local ones that are very cheap and nasty, so they won't last 5 minutes. So the reason a lot of these companies are up in the Lake District and all them sort of areas, it's obviously cheaper to make the equipment there. But they are giving us better ideas for grant funding as well. And they're going to help us through all that as well.
You haven't found anywhere in the, say, within the...
Not locally that does good quality equipment, no.
No, okay. On another point, I was researching something totally unrelated to the matters here. In fact, I was trying to find out when a previous chairman, Ken Swainsbury, left the position of chairman of the then parish council. And I came across this. It was from a resident in the village who said, we went to the meeting and we discussed it. To call the people who took time out to attend the meeting to discuss an item numpties was outrageous behaviour. We walked out halfway through the meeting because we couldn't believe how certain parish members would behave towards their fellow council members. The point of the council is to work together for the benefit of the village, not fight each other. There should be transparency, and any discussions or emails excluding some members of the council is wrong and should not continue. Well, I think we would all agree with that.
Yes.
It's a very good point to have made. And also, that resident is now a member of the parish council. And I don't know if you remember those words, Denise, Council Hunt, in about July 2008. And it's on Facebook. It's on Facebook, it's here.
Okay, thank you. Right, moving on to apologies for our absence. Thank you, everyone. We've had an apology from Councillor Craig. Are we happy to vote to accept that? Found a proposer to accept that? Councillor Brown, seconder. Councillor Steadman. All those in favour of accepting? Unanimously. Declarations of interest. Starting with Councillor Webb. Right.
No.
My usual, I am an employee of St Mary's Primary School. I'm treasurer and secretary at St Mary's Church. obviously we have an interest with the Flower Festival coming up.
Councillor Marcus?
Nothing.
Councillor Brown? Councillor Murphy?
Member of the Football and Club.
Councillor Beadle? Councillor Hunt? I'll give you the words, so you can start. I have a non-pecuniary interest for all matters relating to the Village Green as trustee of the HBO Sports and Community Club, chair of the HBO Youth Football Club, committee member of the HBO Cricket Club, and the Scout Hut as secretary of the HBO Chenchendo Kung Fu Club. Sorry, I read that wrong. And also the Village Green from the Kung Fu Club as well. Non-pecuniary as I'm a member of the Flower Festival organising committee, and there was a motion from the youth football about their tournament. Minutes of the previous meeting. We have a motion that this council resolves to strike from the record the draft minutes prepared for the previous council meeting on the 8th of April due to their inadequacies and substitute these with the revised minutes here appended for approval.
I'll propose that.
Proposer, we've got seconder. We've got anyone with comment?
We're going to strike them all out. The whole minutes.
The proposal is this, there are sections of the minutes which are inaccurate. And the proposal is to strike those out, those draft minutes out, so that they're not the public record, and replace them with the actual minutes.
So if that's going to happen, will we as councillors see those proposed new minutes?
They're in the background. They're in the background.
Before.
They're in
So
the
we'll
background.
all have comments.
They're in the background.
In the background.
There's a lot of background papers, but they're the first
So
one.
I've seen quite a lot of pages.
Up to 7.
But no, we will see them before they're released to the public, won't we? They've already been released.
I've already got them.
Yes? Yes.
Yes, they're in the background papers.
Wasn't the answer, was it council answers? I said, will we see them as councils?
You
To
already
be able
have.
to discuss them? Okay, so in the background papers.
Yeah.
I'll study them then. But before they're released, we should know, shouldn't we? Because I don't fully agree with it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you haven't seen them, how do you know whether you agree?
No, no, but to throw them out. I don't agree with just throwing them out.
Well, have you read the background papers?
You saw those as well.
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. There's a proposal and a seconder.
Okay, so then you
I did want to, thank you. Ordinary motion 1,
is this in the background paper?
I'm comparing the two sets of minutes.
Okay, hang on. Yeah, go on.
It says that Councillor Steadman proposed an amendment that the existing heads of terms working group membership now includes all councillors to enable all councillors to have oversight of actions, expenditure and transparency. I proposed that. It was seconded by Councillor Brown and was put through unanimously. Why did you need to change the wording of that?
I listened to the tape, and
Yeah.
all that it said on the tape was the council resolves that the heads of town working group membership shall consist of all councillors. The additional bit that you put in there
I haven't
was
read
part.
it.
No, yes, what you've just read out
Yes.
was in your original motion, and everything on the original motion was superseded by the amendment. And the amendment was purely and simply nothing else that this council resolves the heads of terms working group membership shall now consist of all councillors. That's what the tape said.
Yeah, and I listened to watch the video also, so I don't understand the need to change that. Because they mean the same thing.
Well, it
They're
doesn't
on the
matter
same thing.
because we're now at the annual meeting anyway. So.
But it's not actually changed anything.
Yeah, it has. The second thing I wanted to raise was that the wording on the bit about the poll was changed. The council acknowledges the discontent of parishioners to the proposal to transfer control of the land has been changed.
What was said was this councillor, because I forget who it was, somebody suggested that the percentage, I think it was Councillor Craig,
Councillor Craig suggested putting the percentage in, yeah.
So the revised motion was this council acknowledged the discontent of 93% and 24% of parishioners that participate in the parish poll conducted by UDC proposed transfer control of the land under the British Brings to third party with objections lodged with the clerk to the published disposal notice. That was the amendment that was proposed to include the percentages. So that was what was actually agreed.
Yes, and that's what's in there.
Yeah.
So I just didn't understand why we needed to change that. The third thing I wanted to point out, or whatever, was that motion 2, thank you, I did agree with that because I'd raised that with Teresa. The wording was incorrect and I agree with what you said. That's right. So thank you.
Okay, so
we've really got, anyone else got anything to say on that? All those in favour of the revised minutes? All those against? Right, so not by default, it's not. If you're asking for it to be.
Pardon?
If you're asking for it, it can be. Okay, the meeting schedule for the year ahead. It's proposed that we keep meetings on the second Tuesday. They can start at 8 o'clock. Does anyone have any other suggestions, or do you have to go with that? Can I have I'll propose that, can I have a seconder? Councillor Steadman, I think, just got there first. All those in favour?
Another day. We always used to meet on a Wednesday.
I know.
Would that help?
Yes, but
Is there any reason why we shouldn't change to a Wednesday?
I'll do it just for me.
I prefer Wednesdays, but I'm always out voting. So.
Well, in the summer it's fine. It's winter, not yet.
It used to be Thursday.
It used to be Wednesday.
No, I don't do it
You don't do that anymore, so we could change it.
Change it to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Monday.
How do you feel about Wednesday?
Wednesday suits me better.
Yeah. Wednesday's fine for me.
Wednesday's better for you?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Sorry.
So Wednesdays.
Everybody's happy we move to a Wednesday instead for 8 o'clock?
Still 8 o'clock. At 8
Yeah.
o'clock, yeah. Or whatever.
8 o'clock to allow for those getting back from London. At least 3 have to get back from London.
Do we know about Councillor Craig, how that fits in with here?
I
He's
don't
so often
actually.
away anyway, isn't he?
Yeah. You're all happy with Wednesday? Alright, so let's propose that we change that to a Wednesday night then. Sorry, then.
Yeah, happy with that.
So we'll propose Councillor Brown, second Councillor Murphy. All those in favour? So
more people in favour of.
Right, reports from district and county councillors. We have one of our district councillors here, Councillor Reid. Cameron?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good evening. I've got 4 short points. First one is just driving here tonight reminded me of driving around our district at the moment. It's so beautiful.
Yes.
I don't know if other people have noticed that, but we really are blessed to live in such a wonderful place. And I just felt I had to say that because it struck me in the last few days. Second one is the local government reform is taking a lot of the council's time. I talked at length about that last month, so I won't say anything else, but still on target to try to get submissions in by September, which means having documents ready by the end of July. Third one is a number of you may know, but possibly not enough, that there's a new experiment being made, and that's an Uttlesford mobile supermarket. And this is coming every Wednesday, and I think every other Wednesday, thank you. And it's going to be at the Village Hall car park. This is a subsidised supermarket, so things are typically going to be at half price or less than you would get in the main supermarkets. Obviously, not everything's going to be there like a Tesco.
It's all 50p or a pound.
Yes.
They're just those 2 prices.
Oh, is it? Oh, even better. Okay, you're all very well informed. Thank you. I've only seen it once so far, and that was at Takeley 2 weeks ago. And
so I've just had the bread and the fruit and veg all going to be free. Is there stuff that are just going to get?
It's getting better and better as the sales pitch goes on. And but the point is that the subsidy is really to try to help those people that find it difficult to travel to shops, and also noting, of course, you do have the store in the village, but also taking account of some of the cost of living problems that some people have at the moment. So that's that one. And hopefully that'll work for a year or so.
It's in the front car park as well, so it's not out of sight.
Yes, and the front car park there. So that's good. Seems everybody was know about it, so that's good. And the last one is really just to let you know that the Uttlesford District Council annual meeting is going to be in a couple of weeks, Tuesday week, 2 weeks. And that's the one where all the appointments are reconfirmed, etc. And that's that. Thank you very much.
Is hope for us pensioners yet then?
Yeah.
There's hope for us pensioners yet.
That's exactly
What's the fuel?
That's exactly right.
Cheap food. So I can come down on my bike.
You're not allowed to come back.
I'm not allowed to come back on. Well,
Thank you, Councillor Reid.
Right.
Right. Next on the agenda we have reports of councillor actions and meetings attended. Has anyone got any to report? I've got an apology to make because I've been doing the grass cutting and I've neglected the High Street because last time I covered the grass cutting, a villager was doing the High Street and I'd forgotten, but they'd stopped and the contractor had taken it on. So that will be caught up with. At the moment, the grass
What's happening with the school? Because the school hasn't been cut either.
Yes, it is.
It has now, is it?
Weekly.
No, the backfield, but not the front.
Oh, I don't know who cuts that.
Well, it used to be me, because I was doing it with the nursery school.
Right.
But I'm not sure if they were keeping it wild for May.
I have no idea.
Well, we put a sign out the front for No Mow May because that was what Christopher said that was happening.
Can you ask them if they want it cut, and I'll carry on and cut it if they want it.
It is no May.
Yeah, there's a big
So
thing
it
about
might
it.
be
It's looking a bit untidy on the front, isn't it?
Did you not see one of Hannah's lovely signs out the front?
Yeah, I don't know that was simply been taken on, but that's right.
It was only, I only stopped doing it because the play school, and I was only doing that because the school just let me do it. But
Thank you.
I'll pass the message on, thank you.
Okay, reports from committees and working groups. Alan, have you got a report from the local plan?
What, you're letting me to read it?
Yeah, go for it. Just to shock you.
Okay. There have been 2 working group meetings since our last report, held on the 10th of April and the 8th of May, and today we've held 12 working group and 4 steering committee meetings. All of our surveys have now been completed. We agreed at our last working group meeting to approve the site assessment survey carried out by land use consultants. Limited. The results of the survey will now be sent to the individual site promoters for fact checking. The public event will now be arranged to display the various sites that have been promoted in the call for sites, together with the final version of the site assessment survey. We also propose to display both our design developments and codes and landscape assessment and any other information pertinent to the plan. That will probably in about 4 weeks' time, we think. Planning application for 100 dwellings on our northern border was approved by UDC. It has been generally accepted by the working group that we could not hold up making the plan until a definitive decision has been made as to whether the number would come off the HBO or take the housing allocation quota. It would appear that this decision will probably be made by the local plan inspectors and may not be known until the latter part of the year. Several members of the working group met with the local plan team at Uttlesford District Council. We discussed how the neighbourhood plan was progressing, and we're pleased to be able to report that the team is satisfied with our responses to their questions and that we're working within the parameters of the local plan. This, of course, is especially relevant with housing allocation and numbers. Plans now reached a stage where we will be setting out the actual document. Most of the introduction work has now been completed, and we are just finalising a section with the working title Hatfield Broadoak Past, Present and Future. And finally, we've also commenced work on listing out all of our policies, which we're now proposing to include. Once this list is complete, we'll be asking all the individual members of the group to expand them and put together all of the necessary evidence and backup. And that's it.
Thank you, Alan. Were there any other working group reports from anyone? No? Okay. They might come up on the agenda in other places as well. Right. In Councillor Craig's absence, this one's fallen to me. The search is underway for a replacement clerk. We've had a few CVs in. So far, we're ideally looking for an experienced clerk because we've got some complicated situations to get through. We're also, in the shorter term, looking for an interim locum clerk. We did think we had one lined up, but unfortunately that hasn't worked out. And we have contacted the consultancy arm of the SLCC, Society of Local Council Clerks, who have a clerking service. And I expect that's probably going to be our best bet. Right, there was a long list of correspondence in the background papers. Literally, the clerk gets hundreds of emails. Lots of police reports from ELC about training. There, I've highlighted a couple, I think. Turin Parish Council have been in touch about the 347 bus and want to know if there's any particular requirements for that bus. Now they've got some money for that service. So there's like a suggestion of like a regular run from Harlow all the way through to Broadoak, for example.
That's the one that we didn't know existed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one that it needs more advertising and possibly linking up better with us. So if people have got any ideas about that, please can they email in to the parish clerk and we'll compile a list to sharing and let them know, as they seem to be coordinating this. The other one was about the pensions, but that's covered later. There have been a couple of subject access requests we've received, and I just want to remind councillors I require a written response to that. I've had them from most councillors, but not all yet. I would need written responses from all councillors. I've sent emails out to you. I'll speak to you afterwards if you're not sure. Don't have anything to update on the key tasks, but I wanted to get on the agenda to remind us to keep it there. Planning. Unless anyone's got any questions about the clerk situation.
Do you want comments? Because I spoke to Bellway Homes when they first put this proposal through.
Yeah, cool.
And I'm afraid I only got talking to a man who was in sales, which is a shame. But my comment was, once you get this side of the railway line, where you're going to stop? They said, well, these 90 houses won't hardly be noticed. I said, well, we'll see them. And it's right opposite the caravan park, isn't it? But
Yes.
it's actually got planning, is it not?
It's got outline plan.
Yes, it's got planning. So does that come off our?
Well, that's
Or they gonna, do we get the money from the?
We will get.
What does Broadoak benefit from it?
Yeah.
there's two things there. First of all, we don't get any money.
Well, that's a surprise.
There's a surprise. If you remember, the money that Section 106 money that is obtained by UDC for any development.
So the 106 is.
It doesn't come to Broadoak. It goes to service their overall need, whether it be highways, whether it be affordable housing or social housing. It doesn't come to Broadoak.
We've already had the money spent on the road, haven't we? What disaster that is.
So, as Mr. Fisher was saying, it's uncertain as to where this. It is uncertain in some people's minds as to where this allocation falls, and all we're doing here is just saying we want to write to others to stake our claim for those houses within our allocation, and wait and see what happens. That's what we're doing.
So once the 90 are built, so our parish council doesn't get
Initially we'll get preset from it.
Yeah,
we'll get the rates.
We don't get the rates.
No, I'm not talking. I'm just talking about parish.
Yes.
The precept.
The precept.
Because the bush enders, who it affects most, are not too happy.
No, sure.
Because exactly what I said. Once you've got this side of the railway line, where you can stop? Because you've already got Dunmow joining Stortford, not far off, is it?
Also, that's 99 houses in your ward. That completely changes your ward.
Yeah.
How many houses are in your ward? 30, 40?
What's it? Double, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all aware of the difficulties. As I
But
said,
that's the problem, as I say,
Yeah.
not interrupting, but, once they're this side, it won't be in my lifetime, I'll be well gone, but once they've started, that was my problem. Because
Okay.
there was 300 at one time.
Well, those were the exact points that were raised
Yes,
at the
yes.
planning committee. But Bellway had taken them all through a pre-application process and an accelerated planning agreement, performance agreement, and planning permission was granted upon the recommendation of the officers. What this is, all this motion is doing is to make sure that we write to Uttlesford to stake out claim for those houses within our allocation. That's all it is. So I propose that we do that.
Everyone happy with that? Any other questions? Okay, can I have a second of the proposal? Okay. Councillor Brown seconded that. Can I have a show of hands? All those in favour? Thank you. Right. Note. Next is to note the Hammonds Road planning proposal. We've been invited to a pre-meeting with Durham in the afternoon before the consultation to discuss the plan. Don't know if anyone's contacted.
It's suddenly appeared in an inbox,
Yes.
and that was it, wasn't it? I mean, we were asked, or no, invited, but you've got it on here to be decided, but they'd already decided. Isn't it tomorrow afternoon?
It's a weekday, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's a weekday, and they're offering a Zoom for if anyone's available. Contact. Well, I assume-
2 and 2. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no,
Between
you're right.
2 and 3,
I think so. Yes.
and then it's 3 to 7.
Yeah, and we need to let them know who wants to go. And am I right in saying the neighbourhood plan has spoken to Durham about this development? Or
Well, it's, yes, it's a local plan. I've spoken to Durham because obviously the numbers are higher than what the neighbourhood plan has been hoping for, because we are obviously trying to run alongside the survey that was issued last year.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said if we were going to go.
yeah, if anyone's actually available.
Yes,
Is it at the village hall? Where is it? Yeah, I'll go.
Are we going, or
Who's available, and we'll get that confirmed.
I think I could get a bit of jumping.
Okay. Anything else to say at this stage? I mean, we know there is a lot of concern because there's a lot of houses in one go, particularly for people who farm through that's further on, and there's people on Hammonds Road. Anything else anyone wants to add to that? At this stage?
I think as many people, they want as many people, I presume, to go between 3 and 7 to make their cases so that they can listen to it.
I mean, meeting us councillors before the public meeting, what's the idea?
They usually do.
Yes, but what is the idea? Is it another pep talk, or will they take any notice? Or,
I think it's an opportunity for us to go and ask questions. So if there's any questions that anybody wants raised on behalf of the council, happy to take them with me, Robson, Sue. So if there's anyone wants raising, please let us know.
Not a great deal of lead up to it, though, Mr. Chairman, was there?
No. I think we found out when the public found out.
Unfortunately, this is, I think, what we were fearing as part of the neighbourhood plan group, that until we have a neighbourhood plan in place, there's nothing to stop developers putting in applications, and while we can try and work with, which obviously we'll be doing, until that neighbourhood plan is made, we have no protection.
When you say working with, what do you mean?
So
When you say working with,
well, we will try and work with them
to what end?
well, to put the case of the neighbourhood plan forward.
Is
And the survey.
that in support of Durkin or not?
Well, we know what's come up on the survey, and that's obviously what the villagers want, and that's what we can tell Durham.
Which is?
That the survey said that the preferred size of developments was up to 10 or then up to 25.
Okay, so we've got three councillors at least are going to try and attend, and anyone else that can will. We've got some planning applications. These are the best I can pick up.
Yeah, no comments.
Any comment? There's only one. Okay, moving on. Committees and subcommittees. We need to resolve the following committees. Personnel committee, it's been suggested that we have Councillor Brown, Councillor Craig, Councillor Hunt and Councillor Strutts on that. Any questions? We'll have to move to a vote on that. I'm happy to propose that. Can I have a seconder?
Sue, second.
You want me back on it then? Just say no.
All those in favour? Village Green Committee. This council resolves set up a Village Green Committee. The committee will address and deal with sponsored design and progress all the matters without exception related to the Village Green, its land, management, maintenance, transfer and or disposal by whatever means, reviewing offers of assignment, management and maintenance, advising any management and maintenance contracts, discussing and negotiating any management and maintenance contract, obtaining legal or other advice considered necessary for its purpose. The committee consists, as proposed, of Councillor Artis will be chairman, Councillor Beadle, Councillor Hunt and Councillor Murphy. The committee will determine its meetings programme and decide all matters relating to its meetings with the proviso of complying with the council standing orders. The committee shall be afforded a budget of £6,000 to execute any necessary work or legal advice. Any ultimate decisions on disposal, transfer or contract will be referred to full council. And I've got proposed and seconded of Councillor Artis and Councillor Beadle. Go around the table. Councillor Brown.
Comments? It feels very biased in one direction.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I would, as much as I would love to be on this committee, I feel in the current climate best served if I wasn't on this committee at the time being.
Okay.
And in that regard, I'd like to propose Councillor Brown to my place on that.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's an amendment, yeah?
An amendment that Councillor Brown replaces.
And if I could go on it at a later date, I'd love to help out as the Green is important to me, but for now.
Shall I do that as it's basically my motion? Would you be prepared to come
Yeah.
on? Okay, that's good. That's good. So the committee will consist of Artis, Beadle, Hunt, and Brown.
Okay.
That's the amendment. So if we vote on the amendment, I'm happy with that.
Okay. So vote on the amendment.
Proposed amendment. Yeah. Well, this.
Proposed by Councillor Murphy, accepted by Councillor Artis.
Yeah, I've accepted it, so that's fine. Second has accepted it.
Can we vote on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. For that.
Show of hands.
Yeah. Unanimous. Good. Okay, thank you.
Okay, neighbourhood plan.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry.
Just on that. Item D in that line, can that just be underlined?
Okay, yeah.
The full council will be kept
Oh,
up
absolutely.
to speed.
Yeah.
There's a full council decision.
Thank you.
And I would say that the first agenda of the Village Green Committee will be to appoint a working group of all councillors so that we can review any documentation related to the transfer.
Yeah.
So what I would do is, following up from your proposal last time, because the working group falls, because towards the end of the year, is to set up a new one. So that's that's not for discussion now. That will happen at the first Village Green Committee.
Can I? Yes, you didn't ask me if I don't think you asked Kenny if you had anything to say.
What's that?
Did you, I thought you were going around the table.
Well, we voted on it.
Well, I voted on one amendment.
Well, actually, we voted on the whole lot. Yeah.
So yes, I mean, Keith, you alluded to the fact that we opened up the committee at the April meeting to consist of all councillors. And obviously I've read this and I've made some notes. I just wonder, where is the £6,000 budget coming from? Because I looked at the budget, there's 17,750 allocated to the Village Green. Is the £6,000 budget coming out of that?
We believe that in this budget coming there will be some surplus. The idea is not to spend £6,000. It's purely and simply a precaution so that we don't have to keep coming back to council. The only additional advice that I can see currently is necessary is if there is any further deeds that are required or any additional information required to perform our legal duties. So.
Okay, so the 6,000 budget is coming from where in the budget overall? Are you allocating it out of the 17,750?
No. It will come out of the budget that we've got for the Village Green and the overall council. There will be we think there will be a surplus of £2,000 to £3,000. So that's what we're hoping at the moment. And also, what I would say is that whichever organisation takes over the Village Green, there will be a saving of at least £10,000. Although that will be disputed, but I can assure you that's the case. A saving of £10,000 on our allocated budget for the Village Green.
So the concerns that I raised in April, I still have those concerns. I think that we need to have more meetings of all the councillors so we all have oversight with what's going on, particularly as we enter this last phase, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think we all need to know what instructions are issued to solicitors. We all need to agree. We need to have sight of the working group notes and all need to know what's going on. I would ask that full council be copied into all correspondence.
Can I just say that as this is a committee, it's in public, so it's formally recorded.
So
councillors will have the ability to see everything that's publicly recorded.
And I'd like to propose that these meetings take place monthly until this is concluded. So I wanted to propose an amendment, if I may.
Well, we've already voted on it, actually.
Well, we voted on the amendment. We didn't vote
You voted on it before
we voted on the whole thing.
We voted on it before everyone was given the opportunity by the chair to comment.
It's up to the chairman.
Thank you. I wanted to propose that the committee will consist of all councillors except those with potential conflict of interest. That meetings that the committee should normally meet monthly but every 2 months as a minimum, or maybe more often if required, and that they be fully minuted. And that if there is a budget, if all councillors are part of that, then that budget can be agreed and spent. And I wanted to propose a terms of reference for the committee also.
Have you circulated that?
Pardon?
Have you circulated that?
No, because I've only been dealing with it. I've got a copy here of what I thought would be helpful. Sorry?
As your proposal,
Well, we've already voted on it. I mean,
Well, you haven't.
Everything that you've said, first of all, the meetings will take place in accordance with the committee, and I can assure you that they will be held more than monthly, because we've got a lot to deal with over the next month. The proposal that's accepted, that it's consisted of 4 people. Those 4 people have already been voted onto that committee. That's it. I can't see what else you want.
The amendments that I've said.
You want?
I wanted it open to all councillors.
Well, it's not.
As
No, it's already.
time. But
it's already been voted that it's just
with
those 4.
respect, the chair said that he was going around the room, and I'm afraid that he didn't.
Can the public please leave the meeting to the councillors? If you can't, leave the meeting. As simple as that. Standing orders, I can't see. We have voted on the amendment already.
But it's based on the amendment, not on the full motion with the amendment.
Yeah.
But if you said that you agree with what I've said, then what's the coming up to vote on what I've said?
So,
It says here, the amendment, then
I haven't seen it.
I'll read it out to you.
I haven't seen it. Show me. No. necessary. So let's see. No. Don't agree with that,
That's your property,
It
isn't it?
is. But the committee will have more frequent meetings than you specify.
I'm very glad to hear that we've just been in writing, that's at least that.
Well, no, it will be.
But that's not the full council.
No.
No.
No, it's a committee, and a committee is a reduced number of councillors. What we will, as I said to you, what we will have is a working group which reinstates the working group
Right,
we had last time.
I checked with what we've recorded and I believe we've only at this point voted on the original amendment. So Kerry has the right to put forward an amendment. If she has a seconder, we will vote on it.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Would you like me to read it?
What's the amendment?
To vote for all councillors.
Read out your amendment.
Yes, read your amendment
So,
again. So that
My amendment, the committee will consist of all councillors, except those who may have potential conflicts of interest. The meetings shall normally meet monthly, but every 2 months as a minimum, or as may be required, and to be fully minuted. And the budget, if it's 6,000, will be able to be spent if all councillors are there. And I propose the terms of reference.
we need to see those terms of reference. I don't think we can vote in terms of reference at the moment, so
Okay. Well, I can suggest the terms of reference to you then.
You really should, with respect to everybody here, you really should submit this stuff before the meeting, so that we know what we're looking at.
You always do. You've made lots of amendments.
Excuse me, can everyone remember this is a meeting of council, not the whole?
I don't see the difficulty just underwriting something and making modifications. I mean, what's the difficulty? What's the difficulty?
I would like there to
At
be
the end of the day, it's our village green that we're all trying to work towards.
Okay. So can you pass that around quickly for everyone? Take a look at.
Well, whether it's this one or another one, I would like there
Well,
to
there
be
is-
clear terms of reference. So,
There is- Is that the only copy?
I can do more to this. It's something that, Keith, you can huff and puff at me, but
We need to see the terms of reference.
I agree. I just wanted to propose that there be a terms of reference,
So,
and that is a
so for the
suggestion.
committee to come back with a terms of reference.
Most other committees have a terms of reference, and I hadn't seen one for this.
Fine. So it's for the committee to agree a terms of reference and come report back to the council with it after their first meeting.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Because we can't vote on that.
No, I agree.
We haven't seen this.
Okay. So your motion again.
The committee will consist of all councillors except those who recuse themselves of conflicts of interest. Meetings shall be normally monthly, every 2 months as a minimum, or as required, and to be fully minuted. And the budget, if all councillors are members of the committee, then that money can be spent. And I propose that a terms of reference is required.
Okay. So Kerry's proposed it.
I'll second
Councillor
it.
Webb's still happy to second
Yes.
it. Can I have a show of hands in favour of the amendment, please? Three. Can I have a show of hands against the amendment? Four. So it's split 4-4. constitution of 4 peoples, that this amendment actually substantially changes that. Is that right? Therefore that isn't allowed.
Okay.
So that part's not allowed. Anyway. It's a substantial change.
Yeah.
I'm right in saying that, an amendment can't make. Yeah. Am I right on that? Substantial change because we've already agreed the membership.
Okay, yeah.
The membership bit can't be changed. Well, I don't have to vote, that bit doesn't actually apply.
But
So the rest of it,
how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4.
it's 4.
Well, vote.
But the rest of it doesn't apply. There is no other change, is there? What Kerry has said is different. The committee has to have minutes anyway. It's a committee.
Yeah.
There's money for the committee. That's already there. So you can't change the membership because that was a vote. It's a substantial change. It has already been voted. So that bit stays the same. The rest is
It's as the motion.
It's as the original
As the
original motion. It stays as the original motion.
Rather than Murphy.
So now we need to vote on the original motion. So we voted on the amendment, you said.
Yeah, we have to vote on accepting the
Yeah,
original
fine.
motion. All those in favour of accepting the original motion with the amendment Councillor Murphy put through, because there was no actual changes from Councillor Stegnan's, apart from the membership which has already been voted on.
Well, I'm still happy to propose that.
So, proposing the original motion, I still have Councillor Arthur seconded.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All those in favour? All those against?
Thank you.
Yep. Sorry about that. Working group membership. That was sent.
That was sent, yeah, and I'll take a lot of time thinking about it.
Give me a call. We can't bring up pages and pages of amendments.
Okay, let's move on, please, because we've still got quite a lot to get through. Working group membership. We have highways working group.
We can just put name of the plan.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. We're on the neighbourhood plans steering committee. The proposal is that the immediate task is the neighbourhood plans steering committee will present at a working group meeting with the full council in attendance a programme of activity and a timeline of events for the parish council agreement, an update such as the project is developed and a budget to the council for approval of the full council. Events for the parish agreement. Following this, to continue to focus on production of neighbourhood plan. The parish of Hatton brought up for approval by the parish council. Live planning matters are the remit of the planning working group. The committee will continue to identify components, sourcing and applying for grant funding, procuring advice, including legal advice, consultancy and other services, conduct survey research, using information papers, drafting communications to villagers and the PC's planning newsletter, and organising and holding community engagement events. The suggestion is that I wish to stand down from this committee, basically because of my workload, that we need 3 councillors on it for it to be a committee. We have Councillor Brown and Councillor Steadman, we've got both willing to carry on. An assumption there, but we need one other councillor to volunteer.
I'm volunteering.
Thank you, councillor. Anyone else?
Are you trustworthy?
And
I haven't got anything else to be on, so.
in terms of the other members, I don't have any suggestions of changes to those.
Can I ask a question about that? Because
Yeah.
in this it suggests that the committee will just be the councillors.
No, in the background I said that it should be all that.
And
I was focusing on the fact that we had 3.
yeah, so
Obsessing on that.
so the steering committee remains the same with the exception that Councillor Webb and yourself will swap. Can I make a proposal to the council, because Jonathan Diamond has been helping us, as you know, but he's not actually formally a member of the steering committee, which we would like to include him as such, if that is acceptable to
So
everybody.
an amendment to add him into the group, yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Do we have to vote on that, or?
we have to vote on this. So the meeting's to be held up until the end of the committee completing the neighbourhood plan. In conjunction, a residential neighbourhood plan working group will be set up by the steering committee. Presumably the current membership of that sort of steering committee sorts out.
Yeah. Well, if I may,
With that amendment,
we had a steering working group meeting on Thursday evening, which was after the agenda was put there. And if I can read this out, because this was put forward by the committee, and I think it will answer some of the questions that you've raised in
yeah, can we
this
do that
agenda.
on another night?
Okay, well the only thing I would like to raise is the fact that you mentioned budget, and the main issue for us is budget at the moment, because as you know the 10k that was allocated was then withdrawn.
Yep.
In an ideal world, grant funding from locality would be available to draw as soon as we need it, but we've established that in reality the locality grant funding is not likely to be available to apply for until July or August. The requirements of the neighbourhood plan are evolving, and it seems likely that we may have to complete a strategic environment assessment now, which we had previously thought would come from Uttlesford, but we may have to fund that. And so the issue for us is the timing of funding. And we would like to propose a budget of up to 6,500 to enable us to complete the obligations should the grant funding not be available. And I'm sorry that this is late because I've only received this today, a budget forecast which shows a shortfall of around 6,500. With regard to live planning matters, we need clarification on that, where land has been put forward, particularly where land has been put forward under the call for sites for Durkan. Because, you know, as a neighbourhood planning group, if we want to talk to a landowner and the planning working group is also talking to them, it might be confusing. We would ask that the neighbourhood group is tasked with liaising with them. And you make reference to the planning newsletter. Is that the normal minutes, working group notes minutes that we give
That was
and
taken,
put in the parish magazine?
sorry, that was taken from the previous, from last year's.
Yeah.
So I'm
The
not
parish
actually, I
magazine.
don't know exactly what that happened.
Because obviously we do put that information out there.
Sorry, I lifted that last
Yeah.
year.
And that was pretty much all that I wanted to say on
So
that.
you've got an amendment that you
So
want.
the amendment is to propose a budget of,
We're doing 2 steps. So you've got the membership.
yeah, which is adding Jonathan.
So can I have seconder for that? And show of hands. Okay, that's everyone's happy with Adam Johnson. And then you've got some changes that you want to make to...
We would like a budget allocated because we are seriously concerned about the timing of the grants, because we may have to pay out for some of this stuff to be done before we're able to apply for the grants. You know, like you said with the Village Green one, we're hoping that we won't need to and the grants will be available, but should they not be,
Presumably, if we get a grant, we can give it back.
You can't, but usually you can't spend grants retrospectively.
if we can check that.
Well, we give it back to the parish council.
Not if it's already been spent. You're not allowed to claim for something you've already bought. Usually, there's problems with that when you're a parish council. Okay, so Kerry has a proposal to add a budget of 6,500. Where is that coming from?
Well,
Well, it's an important question.
it's an important question. The same question I posed to Keith about the budget for the Village Green. You know, if we don't do this,
It's very necessary.
if we don't do this, then we're open. If we don't complete our open plans, we're open to other speculative.
So the choice is between enabling some money now, which we won't get back if we spend it on grant. You can't spend the money first and then claim the grant.
We have-
Or waiting until you get the grant.
We have
That
got
seems to be the choice.
approximately 3,000 available still to draw.
Yep.
So the hope is that obviously we can draw that and the
Yeah,
timing
I
of the
understand that.
locality.
You're asking for £6,500 safety net, but we're not
Yeah.
sure whether we've got. What a timing thing.
We need to.
And how do we know anything about these grants at all? Timing wise? Is that still up in the air as to when they're going to be about?
Well, we asked Nikki Joshua, who was with us last week,
Yeah.
and she couldn't be any more specific. If you don't mind, I'd just like to check that with Alan.
Sorry,
About the grants from locality.
Well, locality, they are probably coming out in July. There's no guarantee that we'll be able to apply for them. More point, we will spend the money by then. If we're going to keep this thing on track, we're going to have to spend the money by then.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else got any questions? Yeah.
So is it a choice between money for the Village Green and
No,
money
it's,
for the...
it's just where that money comes from our budget.
And I'll be honest with you, I haven't been through the budget line by line because we weren't sure what we needed as to see where it could potentially come from. I haven't completed that exercise yet because of time constraints. Maybe it's something that we could do. I mean, there was talk of maybe surplus available.
Should we leave this till we have done that then?
That's a month down the road though, isn't it?
So is anything going to happen in the next month that's going to jeopardise the neighbourhood plan and having that money? Or? Probably not, is it, in the next month? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
and
how
that's,
these things move.
if it does move fast, can we agree to look at it by email and agree it that way if it needs to be done before the next meeting?
We can't spend money by email, unfortunately.
Before the AG.
We can call the AGM if it needs it. Then we need to do some research as to how we're going to trim our budgets.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you know, with respect, we've spoken about the 6,000 for the Village Green, so we're finding that, but
yeah,
is the housing more important? Could we find a bit of money to support that?
you can't take it from that budget if they don't make that save. basically the suggestion is we investigate where we're going to get this money from. My big concern is the interim clerk solution is £40 an hour, and that's going to chew through our budget very quickly. Knowing how much time preparing meetings and background papers, etc. take, without all the other stuff that the clerk has to do.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, there's been a lot of mumbling. What do you need £6,500 for?
The neighbourhood plan.
Yeah, but what for in the neighbourhood plan?
There you go. Chris?
Okay, anyway.
Anyway.
So are you happy that we wait for a decision for next month? And if something urgent comes up, we will hold an EGM. You can hold me to that. You just send me an email and I'll call an EGM for you. So we call it within.
So we urgently need funding between now and the next parish council scheduled parish council meeting. We will have an EGM to discuss it. Yeah. But we must make a decision on allowing a budget for the neighbourhood plan at the very next one, because otherwise if we don't do this properly, we are open to any sort of speculative development.
Yeah, so you need to go through the bank together and try and find some money.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we're back to the original motion, I think, to work on the main motion, which is the former neighbourhood planning committee, because we've agreed to add Jonathan to it. Can I have a proposer? Seconder? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Working group memberships. This council resolves form the following working groups of the council. Both the appointment of councillors shall be for the term of 1 year until the next annual meeting. Can we do this on the block? Has anyone got anything specific they want to pull up from this that we can't?
I'm just not sure about the IT working group, so I'll abstain on that one.
Are we happy to vote on block or on all the other three bar the IT working group? Anyone?
Number 2, the planning working group. We need to decide how we work this cross-reference of developers with the neighbourhood plan.
That's already been decided up above at the moment.
Right, so
Already voted on that above. Have you got something more to say about it? Do you want us to vote on all of them?
you vote on one.
You have to vote on.
Vote on one, sorry, one at a time.
One at a time?
We'll just do number 1 and 2.
Okay, highways working group. Do I have a proposer to accept that? The second, Councillor Seven, all those in favour? Planning working group. Can I have a proposal for this? Seconder. All those in favour? Any those against? IT working group. Does anyone want to discuss anything on this one? Brought this one up. Okay, can I have a proposal for the IT working group? Yeah. Anyone want to propose for the working group?
IT.
Yeah. Councillor Hunt, I think that's it. All those in favour?
No.
Policy working group, which is all councillors. Councillor Devon proposed. One second. favour? Appointment of parish representatives. There's one that's missing because it's a new one, and that's the representative at the liaison group with the other councillors, which is from Councillor Arts at Councillor Beadle. You happy to carry on doing that with the DFIB and first responders? Are we happy to vote for this group en masse in one? Okay, can I have a proposal that we accept all the current representatives? Councillor Arts, Councillor Brown, second. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Subscriptions. We paid princely sum of £5 a year for membership of the Oxford Association of Local Councils. Can I have a proposal to carry on doing that? Councillor Stedman, Councillor Brown, second. All those in favour? Highway matters. There's been nothing brought up. I'm sure we could just debate the B183 at length, but can I say we defer that discussion to the next meeting? Anything on the vehicle activated signs?
Just on the highways. Essex informed me that some civic-minded person in our village has complained to them about the potential use of the vehicle entrance for our flower festival. Personally, I hope that civic person is revealed as somebody that's made a complaint against the greatest event that we hold every year, which supports the school and is a great event for the village. And I hope that person is exposed, and I know this will get complaints, but I hope they rot in hell.
Now, if someone said that about you, Keith, you don't want to stand in charge. No, there's supposed to be some respect and dignity here.
Yeah, but you're still not supposed to be butting in.
Sorry?
Bill, remain, this is a council meeting.
And a council meeting should be held appropriately, and you're not chairing it appropriately for allowing comments like that. This is disgraceful.
Was unnecessary that comment at the end, as I was saying. There is no difference between them parking in that field than parking in any other field, because it's still just a field entrance, which is what happens if they don't park there. They park on somewhere else on Williams Land, going through the field entrances, which are actually lower grade entrances than that one. So it's a nonsense. But
Mark, can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
Have we got any closer to highways actually doing anything with that?
I don't know the ins and outs of why this is taking so long. I believe a traffic management company has been engaged, but I don't know why they haven't sorted it out.
Yeah, there's a traffic management company involved, and the hurdles that they've got to jump through with Essex County Council are ridiculous. When you think the utility companies can pick up the road whenever they like. It's just a few signs, a few bollards, and a few traffic lights for 2 or 3 days. That's it. It's not the end. It's not rocket science.
We're still waiting.
Yeah, it's still waiting.
To receive an update on the vehicle activated speed sign.
I have checked with Sarah Tomlin at Essex Highways. There's no further movement on the hopeful budget at the moment. There's no budget for the promised revisit of the speed survey on Hammond Road, because as you remember, Essex Water had the road up at that point. I have advanced, I have been looking into, as you agreed, grant applications, so I'm hoping that might come back. If that comes back and there's grant money available, then we can put the licensing in and we can agree on the particular sign. But at the moment, it's progressing, and that's as much as I can say, really.
Thank you. The next thing is
Bush End, just the potential 99 new neighbours. End of. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, the next item is TDS Hygiene have written to us. I believe the previous clerk circulated the email to us all about price increase. Basically, their prices are going up, not by about from £6 to £7, and some from from £5 to £6. They've not put the price rise since February 2020. We need to decide whether we're happy and willing to accept that, or whether we want to go out and try and find someone else.
They empty the bins, right?
They empty the bins and the dog bins.
Sometimes. Recreation bins.
Well, as somebody else hopefully will be taking it over at some stage, let's just continue with what we've got.
Right. Any other thoughts?
Just what does that mean? You said from 5 to 6, 6, 7. Do you know how much it is? They know.
Well, it's going to be £1 a bin, so we've got about eight or 10 bins in total. We close the stock bins and the various waste bins.
How much are outside of the village green?
Outside of the bin?
Because I presume that whatever happens with village green, they're not.
Those ones will cease.
Exactly.
We'll cease to have to pay for, yes. We're not talking about a lot of money a month extra. Okay, so can I propose to accept the price increase? Can I have a seconder? All those happy to carry on? Unanimous, please.
Can I just stretch that?
Okay, the next is the village green items, the first two of which I'm going to leave the room for, and to hand over to Councillor Artis.
Sure. Item 1 is, this is basically reconfirming, because we actually voted for this back in January, but reconfirming for Burgers to provide a blank assignment document. We previously voted for this, but our previous clerk did not place the instruction with Burkitt's, so this is just to reconfirm a previous instruction that was given, which is to produce a draft blank assignment document.
I didn't think that they were happy to do that.
They are happy to do that on the basis of that no additional work is required, i.e. no additional deeds are required or any special provisions.
Okay.
So the original quote they gave us was £750, and that was to provide a blank assignment document in accordance with the lease.
Okay.
So all this is just making sure there's no more confusion and that the instruction is issued, because we need to look at that to make sure we fully comprehend the terms of the assignment. So I'd like to propose that.
I'll second it.
Well, let's second it first. Yeah, second. Okay.
I just wanted to know that if, as you said earlier, it goes to boost, then additional deeds will be required.
Yes.
Would it not be better to defer this spend with the solicitors in case we need the additional documents, or it needs the wording changed?
There will be additional documents. There won't necessarily be the wording changed. But we don't. We want to see the document. That's the point.
To actually have the document.
To have the document. So it's not a case of waiting. It's a case of reconfirming the instruction that we made previously, which was in place with Burkitt's. Let's get the document and then we can comment upon it.
Okay.
So that's the principle of it. Anybody else?
Who's aware of what we're saying here? Who's,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we're aware.
okay.
Okay, we've got
We have our own
a proposer
solicitors,
and a
No
seconder.
additional charges.
Yes, yeah. Can we have those for, please? We're voting for it.
Oh, you vote for it.
Those against?
I'm going to be against.
Okay, fine.
I don't like the word assignment, but that's another day.
Okay, well that's... Okay, and the second motion is this is a decision which the council makes, and it's purely and simply to grant ourselves or confirm that we have the authority to assign and dispose of parish land under the general consent provisions. Now, the general consent provisions allow us to dispose of land. It allows any local authority to dispose of land without the permission of the Secretary of State. We don't have to request the Secretary of State's permission. This is on the basis that it allows the Secretary of State to absolve himself from the day-to-day running of local authorities. Now, the reason that we can grant ourselves that permission or that authority is because the proposed assignment will be in the best interest of the local community, and also it's less than an undervalue of £2 million. So it means that you don't necessarily have to obtain best value, purely and simply because the undervalue is less than £2 million. And the undervalue here is, according to Burkitt's, is £40,000 or £2,400 in rent a year. So that's the undervalue. As you can see, it's considerably below the £2 million limit, which is set for the general disposal consent. We've also taken into account Circular 0603, which requires us to, which gives the exception conditions for the disposal and an undervalue. We've also issued the public notices that are required and received the comments on that public notice. And the motion includes the very important provision that the final decision to assign or dispose of the land shall only be made by resolution of the full council after due consideration of any offers or proposals received. So this is very simply to grant ourselves the permission, the authority to have the power of general disposal consent, and that the full decision to transfer the management and maintenance of the village green will only occur by a decision of the full council.
That despite the poll rejecting the offer and
So
the disposal and challenging the disposal.
So there's a proposal for that. I'm proposing it. Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any comments?
Comments. So this is to give the land that was basically gifted to us for £99 from a local landowner, and we're going to give it away. That's it. Crash.
No, this is not for that. This is to
Well, that's
grant,
what you just said.
No,
It
no,
dispose of the parish land.
it's to
Keith.
grant.
To consider granting authority to assign and dispose of parish land under general disposal consent.
It's to give us the power to do so.
The power,
It's not
but it's
to
still
do
the
it.
same.
It's
You're
not
going
to
to
do
give it
it.
away.
It's not to do it. To do it is the decision of the full council, which
Yes,
hasn't,
and it's got to be, hasn't it?
absolutely,
I,
and that hasn't been made yet.
I'm going to go around in circles, but we do know that Hackney Broadwood Parish parish, a lot of people were not happy. And we have to remember that we're not happy with giving this land away. The parish council giving it away. Because under an assignment, if anything goes wrong, but the land does come back to the parish council, does it?
Yes.
I don't believe it does. It goes back to the landowner.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask a point of clarification?
Not yet. Can I, any further comments? Do you have any comments?
I've always questioned your assignment, not yours, but you brought it up. I've always questioned that, because under assignment it's one thing, but assignment is totally. As I understand it, the assignment means that if anything goes wrong, it goes back to the landlord. The parish council are not.
It's not your land.
Well, it's not the parish council's land,
Well,
but it was voted for 99 years.
If you remember, from last meeting, the 3 additional terms that we discussed with the lawyers were to make sure that happened, that if there was any default, that it came back to the parish council, that the blue strip was, the benefits of the blue strip were removed, and a confirmation that there would be no residential development of any kind on the land. Those 3 additional terms we wanted to include in the draft assignment.
Okay, well, we've got to reconsider it. I mean, we're considering it here.
All we're doing is granting ourselves the power, not actually doing it. And ignoring the parish.
That's my worry. The parish have had their say.
Okay, Chris, I think you've made your point now.
Yeah.
Can we
I have my own point.
Move round?
Are you going round?
Yes.
Okay. My feeling is that I would prefer to defer this decision until we are further down the road with the propositions.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? No. Okay. Is that an amendment?
Well, you can take it as an amendment.
Or are you just going to vote against it?
Well, I would propose an amendment to defer this decision until we are closer to actually being able to award or not the land or dispose of the land. Sorry, Denise, I'm not getting my thoughts in the mind.
So you're
Just out of curiosity, I mean, I appreciate what Kerry's saying. If we are able to put it off a bit, could we go back to a sublease?
we can do anything we like. But this is to
Is this
grant
proposal
ourselves.
separate? Isn't this a separate proposal, sir?
Yeah, it is. All we're doing here, whether it be an assignment or a sublease, this is purely to grant ourselves the power to dispose by whatever means necessary.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Despite what the parish says.
Thank you very much. I think you've said that 3 times.
What I'm thinking...
Right, Chris, you've had your time now. Please, we're moving.
Just going to say, we've got 2 charities who are working bloody hard, both of them, to get an agreement to the village green, which what everybody wants. The whole village wants.
Yes.
So we mustn't steer away from that. Let them all have their say. There's a lot of man-hours gone into this.
Chris, that's exactly what we're doing, but that's
What
nothing.
we're doing is
That's nothing to do
Why are
with
we
this.
bothering?
Chris, that's nothing to do. Your opinions are respected, but that's nothing to do with this. This is purely and simply granting us, or confirming that we have the powers of general disposal consent. That's all this is. We're not making a decision on actually doing it. We're not actually making a decision on which way we do it. This is purely and
We're not
simply.
actually making a decision to actually do it.
This is just we're not making that decision. This is purely confirming that we have that power. So are you making a proposal to defer?
I would make a proposal to defer.
Do you have a second? Do you have a second?
Yes, I'll second it.
Okay, those in favour of deferring? Two. Those against deferring? 4. Abstentions? Okay. Right, so we move to the unless anybody else has got any comments. Sorry, I stopped here. No? Any other comments? No? Okay, so we move to the substantive motion, which is the recommendation that the council votes in favour of this motion. So, can I have those in favour, please? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those against?
It's pretty obvious.
2. Okay, that is approved. I think it's time to bring Councillor Strutt. Sorry, no, there are two other things. I'm not sure whether he's meant to be in here or not. But to consider the annual youth football tournament to decide their application. I propose we accept that. Sorry? No, we're not going to argue over it. So, everybody in favour of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And to consider HBO Youth Football Club's Football Club's Club Day application. I don't think we're going to vote against that either. So, everybody in favour of that? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chris, what are you doing? Are you?
Yes, it's football, is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 6 and 1 abstention. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. I will get Councillor Strutt back.
Yeah, but no, Chairman. This place land, it's not the parish council, they belong here. It's not your land.
I've got one hearing aid that has died, so I'll go and get that tomorrow, and the other hearing aid.
We're going to challenge that tomorrow.
What?
Well, it's not the parish council land. It's under licence. It's not your land.
Yes, it is. I do that.
It's fine. So don't upset the chairman. He gets ready and starts banging his hammer.
Put it away, it's a waste of time. Recreation ground. Councillor Beadle has carried out the April check and submitted that. I circulated it quite late to you. Councillor Beadle, what do you say about that?
No, only that I'm meeting Rossborough next Friday for their annual check. And that's it.
Thank you. That's all we need to do for that. Got another subscription. But we've got a separate subscription. Sorry. To consider our membership of the Rural Community Council of Essex for 25-26 year. Anyone got any questions, or are we happy to go straight to a vote? Can I have a proposer? Councillor Stenham, seconder Councillor Brown. All those in favour? Unanimous. Grants. We've had a grant application from the Friday Club, which was in the background papers. It's for £1,200, I think. Anyone like to give me any questions, comments?
No, I'm really sorry, but the background papers came through really late last night. I've been at work all day and at a meeting after
Do you want
work.
me to see if I can find that singular?
Are you able to, I just haven't had a chance to, there's
Yeah,
100 and odd pages.
I know.
The question has to be asked, have we got any grant money
Yes.
available?
We've got an unspent
Yes.
grant, well,
So,
4,400.
the Friday Club is, will attend in August.
Yeah.
Is it an age thing?
50 and over.
Yeah.
Anyone over?
If you're at normal Friday.
You can go, Chris.
It's for their outings, etc. I think, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine so, yeah.
I think we gave them similar last year.
Gave them 1,000 last year.
So, inflation. I believe it's one of the biggest clubs in the village.
Yeah, it is.
Certainly for that age group, if not the biggest.
It's one of the most active, Mark.
So,
I'm surprised they've gone in so low, actually. Because their trips have gone up about 30%.
So it's basically for outings.
Pardon?
It's for outings.
yeah, it's for outings, for
And I think activity in the hall when they get people in to talk to them.
Yeah, speaker Fridays, you know, a lot of speakers.
And I don't know a lot, but they do have.
Yeah, they do have speakers.
Right.
Yes.
Are we? Can I have a proposal, or has anyone got anything else they want to say?
Propose, we accept it.
Can I second it? All those in favour?
I'm abstaining. I'm a member of the Friday Club.
Fine.
I'm not on the committee, but I'm just a member.
declared that earlier.
What do you think? I'm not old enough.
I'm saying nothing.
Come on, we're running out of time here.
Yeah, I'm going to get the pub.
We've done grants. Okay, so to adopt the updated standing orders from the National Association of Local Councils. This is something that there was there was a suggestion that we add in to see if request to improve the conduct of those present at a meeting is ignored. The chairman of the meeting may take further reasonable steps to restore order to the meeting. This may include temporary suspending or closing of the meeting. That's the suggested change, as opposed to requiring a vote. For a second, I'm going to close the door while people are talking about the standing orders. Otherwise, they're the same as last year's. But the national standing orders have not changed.
Do you have a choice, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
You
a
could change
standard
every single standing order.
adopted by the National Association of Local Councils, that's it.
Well, that's why we've got amendment. We've got potential to put amendments. We quite often do have amendments. Oh.
Is that your proposal?
That was what's been suggested as a proposal, yeah. Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Is anyone?
I haven't been able to read.
I'll second it.
I haven't been able to read the background papers, so
It's the same standing orders as last year.
there's no amendments. It's the same as last year.
Yeah,
With that amendment.
with that amendment, that just was proposed, so people need to vote on whether they're happy with that amendment first.
Can you read it again, please? I'm sorry.
If request to improve the conduct of those present, it doesn't actually say this because it's talking about a meeting, is ignored, the chairman of the meeting may take further reasonable steps to restore order or to progress the meeting. This may include temporarily suspending or closing the meeting.
So it's basically if there's a riot, I think.
That's already bringing him a banging a fucking hammer.
It's not lively, it don't work, is it?
Any questions?
Does that mean you won't need your hammer anymore?
Okay, can I have, I've proposed it, you seconded it, those in favour of that amendment?
Yeah.
Show of hands. Okay.
Substantive motion.
Amused.
Just
Start again.
The reason I say we're running out of time is standing orders said we can only have a meeting for a certain length of time.
Yes, I know, we're trying to do it.
So let's get on with it.
That was passed. We also then, with the amendments passed, and do we have to vote on the rest of the
Standard motion.
So the substantive motion is to adopt the rest of the standing orders.
Yeah. Happy with that.
Poser?
This is part one, still, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Poser and seconder. All those in favour?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, the financial regs, there are some suggestions due to issues that we've incurred because of the recent situation that we've reviewed. And the suggestions are 515, individual purchases with an agreed budget for that type of expenditure may be authorised and executed by the clerk under delegated authority for any items below 500 excluding VAT. The clerk, in consultation with the chair of the council or chair of the appropriate committee for any items below 2,000 excluding VAT. The chair for any items below 2,000 in accordance with council policy resolutions or projects. The council for all items over 5,000. Such authorisation must be supported by minutes in the case of council or committee decisions or other auditable evidence trail. In the event of the unavailability or absence of the RFO or clerk to the council, the chair shall be responsible for executing individual purchases.
And this is being done because we don't have a clerk.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying.
Because we don't have a clerk.
Although we've got councillors who are prepared to act in the various roles, technically we don't have a clerk. So this is, and to be honest, these allowances used to be included in previous financial regulations. Yeah, there were.
And then 9.4 is personal credit or debit cards of members or staff shall not be used except for expenses of up to 1,200 including that incurred in accordance with council policy resolutions or projects as approved by the chairman, clerk or responsible officer.
Which again used to be in the old, I believe it used to be in the old financial regulations.
And then there's,
Can I comment on that 914, Mr. Chairman?
you can yeah, do, yes, you can do that one specifically.
I remember our clerk, she didn't like the use of private. So I think she had a council credit card, didn't she?
Debit card, yes.
A debit card, yeah. Well, so, debit card. So I'm a bit nervous of that because she must have read it somewhere that
there's pros and cons in it.
Generally. So that's my comment about that. It's not a good idea.
I think the difficulty, Chris, is that the debit card is in the previous clerk's name at the moment, so we don't have a debit card. Is that right?
I just remember her not acting, and I mean she was a proper officer, and so there must have been a reason for her to say it. So something to consider.
There's two things. One is we only have one debit card, which is good and bad. The problem is if the person whose name that is unavailable, be it they're ill or whatever, we cannot use it. And that means we cannot purchase them. Because some things have to be done in more than one hand. We don't have PayPal, we don't have access to anything else.
It's got to be very rare that we need credit cards and stuff quickly, unless we need to get a couple of thousand out for a month. But that, I'm only going back to then.
Because there are reasons why some councils don't allow it, and there are reasons why others do. And that's what we've got to weigh up. the other policy were noted last month because we approved the financial regs last month, knowing full well we'd have to approve them again this month. So 5.4, we've got updated Procurement Act. It now mentions newer Procurement Act of 2023 and Procurement Regulations of 2024. 5.7 removed the footnote from the legislation stating the contract finder website, and 5.11 removed into smaller lots. So they're the changes from last year's one that we accepted at our last meeting. So I'm assuming those ones will accept again at this meeting. Okay. Chris has spoken, Councillor Webb spoken, Councillor Steadman.
I'm uncomfortable because I haven't had a chance to review it all in line with last month's and everything.
Yep.
Can I just clarify, when it says the chair on point 3, is that chair of the council?
Yes.
And again, in the event of, is that clerk to the council, the chair? Is that chair of the council? Because sometimes in here it refers to the chair of the appropriate committee, so I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, in South West State, it's the chair of the council.
And I too am uncomfortable about the use of personal cards.
Yep.
But like I say, I would have preferred to have been able to review them both alongside each other and read it through.
No, I think it's fine.
Kerry, so what did you say your license was?
Use of personal cards.
Use of personal cards.
Okay, so can I have a proposal for those points?
Are you going to do them individually or together?
Do we want to do them on block or individually? Are we happy to do them?
On block.
On block, are we happy? Okay, so those amendments to the RFO on block, can I have a proposal? Councillor Artis, can I have a seconder? Councillor Brown? Show of hands, please. Those against? Those abstaining? And for adopting the rest of the financial regs as a whole?
Yeah, with those amendments, yes.
With those amendments now, Councillor Artis proposed, Councillor Brown second again. I have a show of hands in favour. For adopting the main body of the financial regs. Okay. The pension suspension notice. Let me take that. That has to be, you have to complete P11 form for April's pension by the 19th of May. And after that, the pension has temporarily been suspended because the clerk's no longer on the payroll.
I've got to read now.
Yeah. That's just to note that, and that'll be one for the RFO. The annual governance and accountability return for 2024-25. I apologise for this because I couldn't find it. It was sent in paper form and I didn't know that. In a folder I didn't know I had. No one told me they'd given it to me. So, I've asked Councillor Artis to read through this, just give me a break.
Okay, the first one is to receive, or it is to receive the annual internal audit report and to approve recommendations from the internal auditor. I think there's only one recommendation. Was that from the internal or external auditor?
That's what, well, I don't know. Did an internal audit report take those things?
And that was purely and simply. Yeah. There was an internal audit report which said that all of the necessary criteria were met, except one was, is there evidence that the council considers what legal powers it has when contemplating undertaking activities? The auditor said that was partially met, purely simply because we have no evidence of general power of competence, purely and simply because the previous clerk wasn't qualified, and of course we don't have a clerk now. So, other than that, I think that is the only thing which required approving from the internal auditor. Section 2 is the AGAR to review and agree the annual governance statement, and I think you've been given a copy of that. It gives the account statements for for section 1 rather than section 2. There's section 1. There's the annual governance statement. Have we got that? It's not on that piece of paper. Not on the paper.
Oh, section 1's the bit we have to fill in.
Have we got it down? Oh, yeah, right at the end.
Yeah, it's on page
Okay.
4. Section 1 is on page 4.
Yeah, that's helpful. Section 1 of the AGAR to review and agree the